sa inyong lahat. Unang-una sa ating bagong Pangulo, si Mrs. Dolly Goodwin. Incidentally, ano ba ang koneksyon ko kay Dolly? Her late husband, Attorney Fortunato Goodwin, was a very close friend, confidant, and legal counsel of mine while I was in the GSIS, while I was a congressman until his demise. So, really, I consider myself as close to their family. At, of course, the past president, President Marisa Benton, the national officials, so my friends, si Margie Ortiz, national president, si District Chairman dito sa Crisostomo, IPP, President Ramos, and of course, our honored guest, Mayor Lim, and earlier, si let me just say something. Mayor Lim, fortunately, we were seated close together so we could chat. Mayor Lim is an old-time friend of mine. Sabi ko nga sa kanya, mahirap mang aminin, pero we have known each other for over 50 years. When I first met Fred Lim, he was a detective sergeant. And I was a police reporter, the police reporter of the Manila Chronicle in my teens. Bata-bata rin siya. And I was studying pre-law. He was also very commendably, because he was one of the star detectives at that time. He was also studying law. Kaya ito si Fred, matagal na kami magkaibigan ni Fred. In fact, Eta, whom I would like to thank for her very nice introduction, Eta mentioned Betty. Betty was also the sponsor in the wedding of one of Fred's children. So kaya kumpare din kami ni Fred Lim. So Fred, it's very nice to see you again here. Sipin mo, we used to sleep in the MPD headquarters. While I was studying pre-law and law, I was sleeping on a table on top of the MPD headquarters. And Fred as well, as a detective, doon di siya natutulog. Kaya pareho kami tutulog doon until the morning shift comes and wakes us up. Gigising kami, listen to this. Then you just take a quick, hindi ko masabing shower. Punas-punas ka lang doon and I'm off to school. Si Fred then. So really, it's a great honor. Now, I'm really quite happy. It's not just my late wife Betty who was involved, but this was virtually the only civic work of my mother-in-law, Felisa Feli Chua Go, wife ng father-in-law ko si Gopang Seng, the owner of the Philippine Times. Talagang she was really very immersed in the Wheel Club of Manila. So it's really quite a great pleasure to be with you today. Of course, I have this prepared speech, which I pawan man yung sumulat. But let me just say this very quickly. First of all, let me congratulate all of the new officials and also the outgoing set of officers. At the same time, let me say that this has been a super entertaining evening. Kaya super. Ang daming talents. Gulat ako talaga. Yung dance troupe ninyo, yung choral ng Rotary Club, talagang stupendous. Kaya pwede bang mahiram ito? Siguro for some kind of a public event, ano ba? You know, over a span of many years, your organization has undertaken meaningful projects of great social significance. This includes your long-standing scholarship program for high school students, now on its 60th year of existence. And of course, the one mentioned by Dolly, the mental health project for the welfare of female inmates at the National Mental Hospital, a project we started as early as 1995. Incidentally, itong scholarship program is one of the favorite projects of congressmen. Scholarship programs, including myself. And I'm really quite pleased to know that you started the whole thing 60 years ago. You are certainly committed to the service of humanity, to your fellow women, to men, to children. But as a women's organization, you have the remarkable opportunity to make greater inroads in the overall empowerment of women in our country. President Dolly has informed me of her plans to spearhead, which he stated this evening, a program for working mothers as well as a daycare center project. Her efforts are truly praiseworthy, deserving of support. Hindi lang support ni Mayor Lim, support din ng lahat, including myself. Throughout the world, there is an increasing number of reports of gains achieved in promoting the rights and welfare of women. The World Bank, in its 2012 World Development Report on Gender Equality, reveals the great progress that has been made in the past decades in such areas as educational enrollment, life expectancy, labor force participation, and so forth. Notwithstanding these gains, however, gender inequality still persists. Dito nakita ko two of my colleagues, si former Congressman Tong Payumo, and of course my colleague now, one of the most outstanding congressmen, si Roy Goles. Seeing them both here, alam ko na kung sinong boss na nilang bahay. Progress has not automatically led to improved rights and a more prominent voice for women. In almost all countries of the world, women continue to trail behind men in terms of areas like, believe it or not, household decision-making and legal parity. Moreover, gender-based violence, both in the households, and Mayor Lim and myself, also a former mayor, we are very acquainted with household violence in our cities. And in conflict areas, continue to be of great concern to a large number of societies. Trite as it may sound, we have to tirelessly keep repeating that women should enjoy the rights and opportunities accorded to men. We seem to take it for granted, but it's not so. By extension, they should be equally entitled to the benefits of progress. The core message of the 2012 World Development Report of the World Bank is that gender equality matters for development and for others. Gender equality can lead to, number one, higher productivity. Number two, better development outcomes for the next generation, our children and grandchildren. And three, more representative institutions. More than 500 million women have joined the world's labor force over the past 30 years. Women now represent 40% of the world's global labor force, 43% of the world's agricultural labor force, and more than half of the world's university students. Empowering women has led to very positive results. In countries such as Brazil, Nepal, Pakistan, Senegal, improvements in women's health and education have been linked to better outcomes for their children. Furthermore, according to the World Bank, empowering women as economic, political, and social actors can affect policy choices and make institutions more representative of a range of voices. What about us in the Philippines? The 2012 World Development Report on Gender Inequality recognizes our country's efforts in promoting gender equality and the empowerment of women. The report states, and I quote, "In the Philippines, sweeping legislative changes in the 1980s and the 1990s recognized gender equality across a wide array of domains. The 1987 Constitution reinforced earlier constitutions by giving added emphasis to the notion of gender equality. The Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law of 1988 assured equal rights of ownership to land. and a 1989 Act amended the Labor Code to protect women from discrimination in hiring and pay. Indeed, through the years, our country has sought to establish the meaningful reforms and policies for women. Today, part of our focus is supporting the achievement of the Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs. These MDGs, what are they? They are a set of 8 international development goals which the United Nations member states, including the Philippines, have agreed to achieve by 2015. 2012 now, so medyo malabo some of these. 2 of the 8 MDG goals are directly focused on the welfare of women. Imagine, there are only 8 international development goals, but 2 of them are specifically focused on the welfare of women. MDG 3 on promoting gender equality and empowering women, and MDG 5 on improving maternal health. With MDG 3 on promoting gender equality and empowering women, the Philippines has a high probability of achieving the targets on the following: the ratio of girls to boys in primary education, the ratio of girls to boys in elementary participation rates, and the share of women in wage employment in the non-agricultural sector. They are already very much involved in the agricultural sector. However, there is low probability in achieving targets on the following. Low probability: the ratio of girls to boys in secondary participation rates, the ratio of girls to boys in tertiary education, and the proportion of seats held by women in national parliaments. In the Philippines, what is the situation? There are 64 women in Congress, in the House of Representatives. 64. And they represent 22%, so not much really, 22% of its membership. On fulfilling, but let me just mention, one of the deputy speakers is a woman, Beng Climaco from Zamboanga. And the management of the Congress, as we all know, particularly the plenary sessions, is in the hands of the majority leader. The number 2, the senior deputy majority leader is a woman, Janet Garin of Iloilo. So the women are very much visible, although they constitute only 22% of the membership. On fulfilling MDG 5 on improving maternal health, much work remains to be done. There is low probability of achieving targets on maternal hospital mortality and proportion of births attended by skilled health personnel. I have to admit, this general observation applies even to Quezon City. It really was a big disappointment on my part that along with the rest of the Philippines, the city that I led for 9 years did not rate much higher than the rest of the country. On the part of the 15th Congress, we have been paving a path of legislation aimed at addressing most of these areas. This 15th Congress enacted the Republic Act 10,151, an act allowing the employment of night workers, thereby repealing certain articles of PD 442 and so forth. This is really to allow women in particular to work, for instance, in call centers where they are very much needed. It was virtually prohibited before, but subject to the protection of their rights on work conditions and just compensation, we have permitted them under this law to work at night. In the pipeline, there are all sorts of bills. House Bill 81 would seek to institutionalize the conditional cash transfer program or the Pantawid Pamilyang Liquido program for peace. Okay, this is a controversial thing because of its big budget. But let me just say that it seeks to ensure that children attend school. One of the ways by which you can avail of this help is certain conditions, one of which is send your children to school. Another one, that mothers get the proper health care services that they need. We also have other measures at various stages in the legislative mill. I will not mention them, but there are at least 6 or 7 bills. We in Congress and some of them are on third reading, which means to say we will surely be able to pass them in the next couple of months. We in Congress cannot succeed by our own efforts. We need your help. We need your participation in 3 areas of activity. Number 1 is advocacy. Your particular club is a very influential club. And it's not only the people who are protesting in the streets who have the ear of Congress. Prestigious, well-known organizations such as yours has also got the ear of Congress, both the House and the Senate. We need your participation in advocacy. In this regard, let me encourage you to share with us your ideas and insights, especially in the shaping of policies and programs aimed at the economic empowerment of women. One entry point, as some of you may know, is the Gender and Development or GAD budget. Government departments, bureaus, offices, and agencies are mandated to set aside a minimum of 5% of their total appropriations for projects designed to address gender issues. This is hard, and it's in many ways it is not really carried out properly. But there it is. Watch out for it, and it's an area where you can request or demand accountability on the part of government officials. However, our country's experience in recent years is that this vehicle has not been fully realized, as I said. The GAD budget can be viewed as a springboard to seek more assertively from government the basics of good governance for poverty eradication and greater gender-fair social development. Let me invite you to join our forthcoming budget hearings, which in the first 3 months are all budget hearings, and deliberations as champions and advocates of gender equality. Second, we need your involvement in fostering innovation. Many of you are entrepreneurs, heads of your own firms. Others are in the management side of firms and so forth. We need to find and adopt new ways of doing things, such as new ways of delivering services where they are most needed. Your organization and your individual members has the opportunity to help us with this. Unencumbered by bureaucratic red tape and processes, and being able to reach areas where government may not reach as quickly, you can initiate within communities creatively designed projects that may deliver desired outcomes through new innovative methods. Third, we need your participation in building effective partnerships. Apart from the House of Representatives, you're partnering with other organizations, agencies, and institutions is very important. You can pool your resources and expertise with others to achieve more successful results. Partnerships can create the synergies that we want to happen. And in the end, partnerships will be the key to our shared victory. And really, with your long-standing existence and leadership, you are a terrific partner for some agencies of government in this regard. And as I close this talk, I am reminded of a remark that somebody once made. Sure, God created man before woman, but then you always make a rough draft before the final masterpiece. Para sa inyo yan. I don't know who said this, baka si Roy Goles o si Tom Priumo, but he or she was either a man who encountered and beheld a crowd like this, or a woman who knew her worth. Thank you once more for inviting me to this ceremony. And again, congratulations to all the new officers. Mabuhay kayo, and may you continue to serve Manila, and perhaps through your leadership and innovation the rest of the country. Kaya maraming salamat, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker of the Belmonte.